Um, so today, I have kind of a combination of MyFitnessPal tricks and but I'm also going to show you some other things that have to do with recipe making, meal making, and even importing recipes that sometimes you might think are going to take forever, but really um, they're just quick shortcuts. And I have a little spread here. So I'm going to do some real weighing of items so that you can see how you can weigh things with the food scale instead of using measuring cups. And I know that seems to be so tedious, but it's actually so much easier. And I always have to tell a funny story about this. My husband is very health conscious. He's very fit. He's a PE teacher, and just like most couples, he does not follow my diet. He does his own thing. And I would never ever do one of his workouts. That's just how it is. And for years now, decades now, he weighs and measures everything. He weighs it on the scale. And I have always used measuring cups and spoons, and that's just how I've always done it. And we have several food scales. We just, because he just buys them, they're literally all over the house. Just because every time a new one comes out, he's got to have the newest one. Um, he'll measure his protein powder. He'll measure everything. Never have I seen him use a spoon. So not that long ago, I would say last session, I tried his method and I was completely appalled with myself that I had not listened to him sooner because it is so much easier. Um, I will not admit it to him in any way, but instead of having to take out several units of spoons and cups and having the accuracy is just not there. Not only that, but you'll find that there's certain ingredients that are hard to measure in a cup, like grapes or watermelon or various strangely cut up things that just don't measure well. Well, when you have it on your food scale, it's a shoo-in. It's always going to be exactly the unit. The other beauty of it is you don't have to get anything dirty. You simply will put your plate on the food scale and add the ingredients to it. So he will add his rice and then he'll clear it out and then he'll add his beef and he'll clear it out and he'll add his corn and he'll clear it out. And I'm over here with all these spoons and inevitably what happens is I just stop measuring. And that's what inevitably happens to most people. We get lazy. And month one, everybody measures so perfectly with, this perfect, like level top. Month two, it's kind of like, month three, you're just like scooping it out. By month four, you're not even using a cup. So with the scale, it's just on your countertop. So we got a newer scale, this one here. And of course I made dinner and I literally could hear him, "Where's the scale?" I have them both down here, but we have a third one upstairs. So I'm going to show you how easy this is, and it really is the easier way. And because of this newfound technique, I decided that moving forward, starting this session, this is the first session ever that I've done, where I am going to incorporate um, using grams and using the scale instead of cups um, to measure our food because it is easier. And I'm gonna show you that. Okay. And so before we talk about my Fitness Pal, I want to discuss the importance of doing all this. There's a 75% higher chance of your success if you log. And this is not my research, this is not my calculation. It is a global study. I mean, you could Google it and it comes from many sources. You are being aware and accountable of your intake, and all at the same time, you are learning about nutrition. If you're not weighing and you're not logging and you're not measuring, you are taking things for granted. You're scooping up a cup of rice. Even if you're measuring it, you're not logging it, you're not understanding the value of the nutrition in the rice. And as the weight starts slowing down when you are losing it, you start investigating more as to the sodium levels and the carb levels. And if you're a tier 1 person, you're not looking at that yet. But my tier 2 and tier 3 people know all about that, because as you get comfortable with the program, you start wanting to know more about that. And those little things are what's going to make a difference later when your weight isn't moving as easily. The other thing I want to talk about is when you are creating these entries on your MyFitnessPal, it is really different when you create them on your mobile device versus your computer. And I did it on my mobile device probably for 15 years until I started this company, this business, and I started doing it on the desktop, and I cannot believe how much nicer it is. And most desktop views are, but it's more convenient to do it on your phone. So my advice is, if you have access to both, every once in a while, take a minute and look at it on desktop, because it gives you a lot more information. And then thirdly, there is a big difference between creating a meal and creating a recipe. And I talked about this, I wrote about this in the onboarding guide. Your recipes are your multiple servings. Those are your dinners usually, or your batches of things like your muffins, your bagels. If you're going to make something off my blog that's a cookie, it feeds more than one person. Those are recipes. That has to be built as a recipe. Your meals are your everyday single servings. Those should be put in as meals. And I'm going to explain the two. And it's much easier to build a meal. So much easier to build a meal. And I actually need you to build it as a meal, because when I look at logs, I can't see the ingredients when you put it in as a recipe. And sometimes I need to see the ingredients, because when I look at your log and I just see awesome oats, that doesn't tell me what you used to make the awesome oats. And if your weight isn't moving, seeing that you made the awesome oats, I'm just assuming that you used the right oatmeal and the right ingredients. That doesn't necessarily tell me what you used. So I know a lot of the people that have been in my program longer than some of the new people have already created recipes for things that they should have created meals for. And it's really hard for me to help them when I look at their log, because I just see words. And so try to do meals as meals, recipes as recipes. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you over here to my little table. and show you some stuff on the food scale. Okay, so I brought over some dry ingredients. You guys still hear me? Yeah? Okay, so this is food scale. Now this is the one that I have on the Amazon list. Turn it on. And if you notice here, the T here stands for tear, and that will clear it out. So what's nice about this is when you put your bowl on here, we don't want the measurement of the bowl, so you hit the T and it clears it out. So now you're back to zero. So if you're making a salad and you want to measure the meat that you put in here, you could put it right in here. Just dump it right in, okay? So let's just suppose that I am gonna add my 4 ounces of chicken to this. First off, I have to change the units to ounces because our meat is going to get measured in ounces. So I'm going to change it to ounces. So this is ounces. And I did not bring chicken down here. So we're going to use my fancy yoga beads. Okay, look at that, 3 ounces of yoga beads. Okay, so I have my 3 ounces of chicken in here. That's perfect. Okay, now I'm going to add my salad dressing to this. I'm going to hit tear. It's going to clear it out, and I'm going to go get my salad dressing. Now my salad dressing comes right out of the bottle here. Okay, and on the bottle of all of your dressings, if you notice, on the label, it'll say what the serving size is, but it will also say how many grams are in a serving. So if it says that there's 30 grams in a serving, I'm going to change the unit to grams. And I'm going to pour, this is just water. So I went too high. In that case, I did 2 servings of salad dressing. So you can see, I didn't have to use any measuring cups, any spoons, nothing. I just dumped everything right in there and it calculated it for me. And I could do the same thing by adding cheese. I could add my olives. I could just keep compiling things in this bowl without needing any measuring cups. Okay. All right, so the next thing I'm going to show you is what happens if you have something like grits. Now, grits are kind of hard to measure. Yes, you can use a measuring cup, and you're going to get a pretty good, accurate measure with this. But on the box of grits, it will tell you 1 serving is a half a cup. A half a cup is 20 grams of grits. So again, I put this on there, I clear it out, I make sure that it's on grams, and now I'm going to with the bar. Okay, now this is my true measurement. Okay. It doesn't matter so much with something like grits, but if those were almonds, let's say, and you were doing 40 grams of almonds, the size of the almonds would make a difference. If they were slivered almonds versus whole almonds, and you were trying to put them in a measuring cup, you're going to get a lot more almonds in the slivered almonds, which is going to throw off all of your calculations. Same thing goes with grapes. I could fit a lot more sliced grapes or diced grapes in this than I can whole grapes. But if I were to say to you 50 grams of grapes, then there's no question. Okay, so going by grams is really the way to go. Okay, so now I'm going to give you a really concrete example. Here is hummus, and this is why I tell people be careful with hummus. Do you see where it says there the 80 calories? And it says I know it's hard to see, but it says 2 tablespoons are 28 grams. I know that's really small, but right there, next to every label, it will tell you the grams. Every label on the planet has the unit in metrics and then in grams, okay? So I could look at this and say 2 tablespoons is 80. Well, it's hard to measure this in tablespoons, especially when you're just digging into this with carrots or peppers. But to get a true measurement of this, I could just put 28 grams of this aside, and I'm going to show you what that looks like, and you may never eat it again. Sorry to ruin this for you, but it's my job. Ready? That's 25. So you guys, this is 80 calories of hummus. Do you see that? Isn't that the saddest thing ever? That's 80 calories of hummus. Hang on, let me give you a better view of this. Last time I did this, I actually hang on. I'm coming back. Last time I did this, I brought down a pepper. I brought down a red pepper and I did this demonstration. So I'm gonna use a clean spoon. That said, what did it say, 2 tablespoons? You just saw me measure it. This is 80 calories. Do you know how many thousands of calories I've eaten of this? And I mean, this is the problem with weight loss. This is hummus. Hummus is healthy. Like everybody knows hummus is like, this is 80 calories. So using that scale is essential. And truly, if you look at this on here, and this was my big giveaway, it says, whoop, 2 tablespoons is 80 calories. There's no way. This is one of my like kitchen teaspoons. But if you also look, it says that there are 34 servings in here. And so if you multiply 34 times 80, that's a lot of calories. And I always have to tell the story of when this first came out. I think it might have been 12 years ago when Costco first started making this hummus. I bought it and I was like, whoa, this is so good. I was training for Chicago Marathon at the time and I just dove in. Like, so after the weekend, I was done with the whole thing. And so when I went to go throw it away, I looked and I was like, 80 calories, that's great. That's so little, so healthy. But then I zoned in at the 34 calories and I'm like, 4,000 calories I had in 3 days. And no wonder I was gaining weight while I was training for this race and I was never hungry. I never felt hunger because so treat this like mayonnaise. And when you're measuring mayonnaise, keep that in mind too, because it's really hard to measure with the spoon. Okay. So that's how you do that. Okay. Questions on that? Did I ruin your day? Um, avocados, another one. I say, to eat a third of an avocado. Well, avocados come not only in all different sizes, but avocados also have different size pits. So you can have an avocado that looks the same on the outside, but one pit might be way smaller. You're getting a whole lot more flesh in another one. I one time did an experiment. I cut 6 avocados open, and they ranged anywhere from 180 calories to 300 calories. So you can't just cut an avocado and have a third. The true way to do it is to put it on the food scale. And my Fitness Pal has these conversions, and so I'm going to show you that right now. Okay. So first thing, I'm going to open up my Fitness Pal here, and I'm going to show you a little bit, a couple things about it. So on my Fitness Pal, when you go to put in a food and you add your food, and you put in, these are all the things that are saved in I call it my refrigerator. Once you add an entry, it keeps it. So I'm going to put in avocado, and you get lots of choices. Now, the ones that have the little green check marks are considered verified. And what that means is they've been verified by many users. The other ones aren't as trusted. So I would stay away from those. They're just not as accurate, because this is a program where whatever entry I put in there, it could stay in there. So you can't really trust everything that's in here. So I go with the first one. And I'm going to, first of all, look at my options. If you hit the down arrow, it gives you all the different options. It gives you gram, it gives you ounce, it gives you pound, it gives you cup, slice, and on. So you want to find the gram. Click on that. So if I tell you on a meal plan that I'm going to start this for your month 2 that's coming up, instead of seeing a third of an avocado, you might see 50 grams of avocado. So in that case, you're going to put your avocado on the food scale, and it's going to be 50 grams. You add it to your diary, and now you see that 50 grams of avocado is 80 calories. I've also written on your meal plan, just like I do now, that you should have between 80 and 100 calories of every fat. So do you see how it all falls together? I'm kind of teaching you guys that it's all parallel. So don't panic thinking, great, I gotta learn, all these gram things. No, you don't. You just need to know that you still need 100 calories of fat in your meals. But when you're figuring out the grams of avocado, my Fitness Pal will help you with that. Now, let's say that you go and you put in a different avocado, and I'm going to pull this one off of my plan here. Some of them don't have as many choices. You see how this one here didn't have, slice and cup. And so if you find one that doesn't have gram, don't pick that one. Go back to the database and find one that has the units that you want. Because if you pick one that is just a bad example, I'm gonna try and find a bad example. This one's a bad example. Whoever entered this one in only put 50 grams as the only option. And that's not one that you want, because what if you are gonna have 70 grams? Then you're in a bind, okay? So that's how that works, okay? Questions on this? Now, why do we measure meat in ounces and everything else in grams? You are more than welcome to measure your meat in grams, but the numbers are just so large then, and it would be you putting your steak on the food scale and getting some huge number that would be in the like high hundreds. And so since we already understand units of measure of meat, we're used to going to the store and the butcher and saying, I'll take a pound of meat. Like we already understand that. I personally like keeping the meat in ounces. But since we don't measure fruit in ounces, and oftentimes we don't eat an ounce of avocado or an ounce of peanut butter, the grams are just a smaller unit. Okay, and you could still use tablespoons and teaspoons, because I still give those units of measure. So your meal plans are not going to say, when you're making your chicken tortilla soup, it's not going to say 50 grams of pepper and 75 grams of garlic. I'm not going to get nutty like that. Those are going to still be written in units of metrics. But when it comes to your meal, and I'm trying to be precise, I'm going to start throwing in grams for you so that you can be a little bit more precise with that. Okay. All right. So let's talk about creating recipes. So there's meals and there's recipes. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is meals. Meals are so easy to make. First of all, making the meal is no different than creating your entry for the day. So I'm going to go ahead and make a meal as if I have not made one before. And it works the same on your phone. So whatever device you guys have, if you want to do this with me right now, I welcome you to, because there's no better way of learning than to actually do it. This particular lesson can be done the same way, whether it's on mobile or desktop. Recipes are totally different. So when it comes to recipes, we're going to have to switch gears a little bit. Okay. So for your meal, you're just going to open up your diary, and you are going, I'm going to subtract this here, get it out of the way. We're just going to add a food. We're going to add one of the meals. So let's just do one that we all know, and let's just do the awesome oats. Okay. So first thing, awesome oats, you're going to put in the oatmeal. So just put in oats as one of your ingredients. And if you've already done this, if you already have this in there, you can either go back to a day that it's there and you don't have to type it in. All right, and so here we have, I find a cup, but I'm going to do a half a cup. So I'm going to split that in half and add that to diary. Okay. Next, I'm going to make my oats with almond milk. And I'm going to add that. Okay. And I'm going to put my flax seeds in there. And I have we're gonna for this purpose, we're gonna stick to our old units of measurement, because I don't want to confuse people. A tablespoon. Then I'm going to add my walnuts. And I have a 2 tablespoons. We'll just put this in there. Walnuts, and then I'm going to do apple. Half of an apple. Okay, so I have all of my ingredients in there. Now, instead of typing this in every single day, you're going to eat this again. All you have to do, and on your phone, the only thing different about it on your phone is you don't see the words here, quick add tools. On your phone, there's 3 little dots in that corner. Do you see the little dots in the corner? Click on the dots, and I'll click on Quick Tools, and you'll see it will say Create Meal or Remember Meal, and click on that. And then it will give you the option to name it. So I'm going to name mine Irene's Oats, and then I'm going to save it. Now, once you do that, it looks like nothing happened. Okay, but something did happen. And I'm going to have you guys all do this together. Pretend that you are going to have this again today for your snack. So go to Add Food for your morning snack. And on your phone, if you're doing it on your phone, it will, let me just glance at it so I get this right. At the very top of your phone, it will give you the option to select a recipe or a meal. Do you see that? So you're going to click Meals, and much like me up here, I'm going to click Meals, and it should appear. Do you see it there? So I'd like you all to select it, because what will happen once you select it is it dumps all the ingredients into that area. And so now you don't have to type it all in. But and when I look at your log, I could see it. I could see exactly what you ate. Now, the beauty of this is there's a couple beauties in this. One, you don't have to type it in every day. Two, let's just say tomorrow you eat this, but you decide you're not going to have it with walnuts. Don't have walnuts, you don't feel like having them. You don't have to type the whole recipe. You could just delete an entry. Did you see me do that? And I'm going to use peanut butter instead. So I'm going to just add peanut butter instead. And instead of now having to redo the whole entry, I have just popped in peanut butter. Or if I'm not going to do apple, or if I'm not going to do almond milk, you have the variety. And this comes really handy when you get subsequent month plans and you see that there's another oatmeal recipe that might have, you know, the oatmeal, the flax seeds, the milk, but other ingredients. You don't have to create all new recipes. You could just copy and add. Okay. Yeah.
I'm trying to I'm doing it on the phone.
Yeah.
I accidentally added the oats twice and I'm trying to delete. How do you delete on the phone?
You swipe.
Okay.
Did you get it?
No.
So watch. See that you swipe
Oh.
and then delete.
Oh. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Yep. So let's look at some of the other quick tools since we're here. So if you click those 3 little dots, it also gives you the options to remember, to copy from other dates. So if you didn't save the meal, or let's just say you're going to eat a meal, but you're not going to eat it a lot. You don't want to save it as a recipe. You can go copy from yesterday and it will just import it. You could do copy from date and it will let you go back a week and it will just dump everything in. But honestly, by the time you did that, you might as well just name it and keep it. Because I have so many meals, and it is nice to be able to go back and look at your meals. You know, I mean, I have tons of them, and people that have been in my program long enough, they're set. They have everything in there, and you can just open them up, alter them, and that's that. So Okay. All right. Questions on making meals?
I have one more question.
Yeah.
So everybody who's doing this program is doing, adding all these same meals into MyFitnessPal. And then I noticed when we save this, it says like public. So
Mhm.
is there a way to access what other people have already entered so I don't have to enter all this stuff?
No, and I have a couple reasons for that. One, because if I made this oatmeal, right, and I used Great Value almond milk for 30 calories. I used the unsweetened, but you grabbed the one that was 90 calories, and it wasn't the unsweetened. And then my apple was a half of an apple. It was 47 calories, but your apple was larger, and it was there's so much line for error that accumulated up. My program would not be the success that it is because people would be sharing recipes to the point of utter chaos. And I mean, this is just a small example. I'll give you a larger one. The stew. I use 80% lean beef. You use, a fattier one. I use Yukon potatoes that are higher in carb. You use, I mean, there's so much variance. And then the bigger picture is this. You don't ever learn how to do this, which is the most important piece of this, and you'll see that next. Because ultimately, and all my clients that have been successful at this, they're able to look at a recipe and remake it. Like they can look at it and go, oh, this has too many carbs, protein, blah, blah, blah. And I'm a firm believer that you won't be able to do that unless you start with this beginner step. As inconvenient as it seems to do this, there would be too many loose ends in the success of why I'm having you do this. Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Irene,
Uh-huh.
one question. So I'm on my phone and I'm looking at a meal that I did. So it's the Get You Fit omelet. Where are you seeing the three dots? I just have on the bottom, edit and copy.
Do you have an Android?
No, I have an iPhone.
Hang on, let me open mine. So when you enter, so I entered in all the ingredients and then right there.
Oh, where you see more? No, wait.
They're just dots. They're not.
Hold on a second.
It's right next to add food at the very bottom under your last.
Okay, are you just going, okay, okay, so you're going diary, because you know what a lot of times I do? I go to my plus button and then do weight, like my food, and I hit breakfast,
Oh, I see.
and then
Gotcha.
yeah.
Oh,
So
I see. Yeah. It won't work that way. I didn't even think about that.
okay.
Yeah, so you have to actually go in. Well, once you hit add though, it should show you. Once you've completed and you hit add, it'll dump it in and you should see the dots. No?
No, like if I'm just looking, going into the meal, and even like the Exactly snack, I'm hitting it. When I hit it, because then you're saying if I wanted, let's just say I didn't want to do, well, that was a bad example because we're supposed to eat them all the same. If I did 20 almonds instead of 10, it says I do edit. It has edit and copy on the bottom. I don't see three dots doing it that way.
Can you hold your phone up so I can see it?
Okay, hold on. Let me go back to it. I'll go back.
Or screenshot it and send it to me if I can.
Okay. I'll do that. Okay.
Understanding. But yeah, we'll figure it out. We might be looking at two different screens.
Okay.
Yeah. 'Cause if you have an iPhone, then I'm sure it's. Anyways, oh, Carol.
Yes, I have a question. So I'm looking at the breakfast and you have a half of a medium apple.
Uh-huh.
Is there some place, I mean, should that be weighed in grams? Because it's
Yeah.
hard to know.
Yep.
So how do you know how much how many grams a medium apple is?
So, starting on the newer month 2 plans, I actually put 50 grams.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or I might have even on the month 1, I might have put 50 calories of apple. I think I did.
Okay.
I think I did.
That's on the new ones you did?
I think so. Let me see. I'm almost positive that I started writing that.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
So with like bananas and everything,
Yep.
hard to know.
Let's see here. I put. No, I did not. I put a quarter of an apple chopped, but for the month 2 though, I'm almost positive that I put it in grams.
Okay.
So, but to let you know, it's 50 calories of fruit.
No matter what kind of fruit?
It is, yeah, but you know the fruit rolls. Yeah. Did you send that to me, Nicole?
I'm doing that right now.
Oh,
Side-
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, all right. So I'm going to I have my text open here, so Nicole, when it comes in, I'll address that. So I'm going to now show you the recipes. Okay. So recipe building is 1,000 million times easier on desktop. So I would tell people if you have an opportunity to shoot up your recipes on a desktop, do it that way. Because doing it on your phone is just more cumbersome. So for that, what you do is you go to recipes here. And well, first off, I want to show you, there's a recipe importer here. And this will not work on your phone unless you're tech savvy enough to do it. If you know how to flip screens on your iPhone and do one of these maneuvers, right? Which I'm not going to teach tonight. It's out of my jurisdiction. But if you're doing this on your desktop, what you could do is open up, and this will work for my blog. You can open up my blog. So I'm going to just open up another screen here. I'm going to go to my website because you guys all know you can eat anything off of my blog. And I'm just going to pull a random recipe right off my blog. Okay. So let's go with the egg white oats to start. Okay, so I'm going to open that up. Now that's a bad example because it's a 1 serving. Let's go with the brownies. Okay, what you do is you copy the URL right here, the address. Okay, just copy it. Then you go back to FitnessPal and you dump it in here and you hit import. And it's the best thing ever. It dumps it in. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I discovered that on accident. The last session when I did this workshop, I literally discovered it in front of them and I was freaking out like in front of them. It was awesome. Okay, so watch. Now it even knew 16 servings. It just completely imported everything. So now you have to hit match ingredients. Now here's the not so good news. This program is not as smart as you think. So it dumped the ingredients in there and it took a really good stab in the dark at matching it, but you have to check it because sometimes it's wrong. So cross check. Coffee, that's correct. Salt is correct. Baking soda is correct. These are all irrelevant ones. Cocoa powder, it put in Navitas. What are those? Is that like a fruit of some sort? So I need to replace that because that's wrong. I don't know why it came up with that, so I need to put in cocoa powder. And 1 tablespoon, so there we go. 2 calories, big difference. Okay. Chocolate chips, quarter cup, that checked out. 1.5 cup of oats, 1.5 cup of oats, half a cup, bing, bing, perfect, 51 calories. Done. Save it, log it, bingo. Okay. So Denise, if you did not have the mechanics of this, later, like I'm not talking now, this is way early for you guys, but later when you start getting bold and you start going, hey, I've lost quite a bit of weight. I'm gonna make these bigger. I'm gonna make these suckers like, there you go. See that? Because you can, right? Or maybe you're gonna go, I'm gonna go back here. I'm gonna sit in that, and you know what I'm gonna do? I am gonna totally do this. Check this out. I'm gonna add an ingredient. Oh, how do I do that? Add an ingredient, and I'm gonna add peanut butter to these bad boys. And let's see here. I am guessing, let's see, there's 16 of them, so tablespoon of peanut butter, 8 tablespoons of peanut butter. And let's see what that does to this. Oh, it doesn't give me that option. But nonetheless, you get what I'm doing. It's going to show you what the calories are and if it's worth it. So you just added, oh, it's so worth it. Look at that. I just put peanut butter in them and it only added what? 12 calories. You know, so you get to start to play with it. And this is just the brownies. I mean, you can get, you know, with the stew, like, I think I want to, you know, add peas to this. What does it do? I don't want to use, you know, lean pork. I want to use pork shoulder. You know, what does that do? You know, I mean, you will have that ability because the numbers are right here and they change right in front of you. And that's the best thing ever, because you are able to manipulate it. Okay, so with my blog, you can do that. Okay, now when you're not doing my blog, and you have to build your own recipe, let's go back, and I will go back to add recipe manually. Okay, so in this case, you have to go, there we go. So recipe name. Now, I have some good news. If you're doing this on your desktop, what you could do is open up my meal plan and cut and paste.
Oh,
So let's do that. So you open up the meal plan, you get to the one of the dinners, and you literally, oh, you know what, this isn't downloaded, so it's not going to work. You have to download it because this is not, you highlight, you copy, you go back over here, you paste, and it'll dump it in. It didn't do it because it's a PDF. So if you download it to your computer and you save it on there, it will let you do it. I just don't have it open right now. And it will dump it in there, just like you saw me do with the blog. And you are on your way. Same exact thing.
So it's more advantageous for you to do it off your laptop or computer, whatever, I think.
Uh,
Than
It's more advantageous to do it on your laptop.
Yeah,
For sure.
I mean, because I've barely been doing, I've done some of my dinners, but it was like, and maybe it's laziness. I'm like, oh my God, it's like looking for this, doing that, using your recipes. It's been
Yep. So
hellacious.
here's, yep, totally. So here's so when you get your meal plan, your version is downloaded. It's different than mine is up here like this. So it's, you copy, right? So you go file, copy, or do it the way I do it. Then you go over here. I got to reshare my screen. And paste. See that? It's like ridiculously quick.
Yeah.
Add the name, whatever we're gonna call it. And then match ingredients. And again, the only thing you have to do is eyeball them, because sometimes something will get thrown in there that's just so goofy that you'll be like, what? But then also too, like, look at this. This is 6 servings, 238 calories. Well, that's a dinner recipe. And that's a really low amount for a dinner recipe. You can make it 4. Because most of your meals are in the 350 range. So in this case, you can divide this particular recipe into 4 instead of 6, because you know what your calories are. Or to go along with, Denise's question, if you wanted to leave it at 6, but you looked and you're like, damn, these beans are so high, like, or beans are essential, but cheese was too high or something, you could yank the cheese out and drop the calories, or add cheese for that matter, because it's so low. You can manipulate. Okay, but 1000%, especially if you know how to, you have the multiple tabs, it's just so easy. And
So
then
Irene, you said you like us to have things as meals because it's easier for you to see.
Yeah.
But so then when would we be doing, like, if we did this and we just moved over from your blog a recipe and we figured it out and we said we had 1 serving of that, how do we, like, I guess, how's that playing with you?
let me show you. So I'm gonna put in one of my recipes. If it's off of my blog, and well, it doesn't matter. So let me just show you. So I just imported this recipe for today's dinner. Okay. Okay. This is what I see when I go on your log. I just see spaghetti pie with white beans. 226. But I would look at it and go, carbs are 21, fats 5, proteins 25. And I would know that that's fine. Now, if I looked at your entry and it said carbs were 67, fats were 44, protein was 19, I would say, Denise, can you send me a screenshot of that recipe? I mean, it's just what we have to do, because I can't see the recipe, and it's a pain. And I can tell you that I probably only have to ask people to do that once a month, because most of the entries are meals. If I had a member today that she's been with me for 2 years. Let me pull her up and I'll show you how confusing it was for me to look at her log. It was like I couldn't even do it, but I felt bad asking her to enter everything in again. But when you see this, you'll understand why. Look at her log. everything's meals, the recipes. I mean, I looked at it and I was like, I can't, this tells me nothing. I mean, I was like, why? I literally had to ask her. I'm like, I'm really sorry to have you re-put everything in after all these years, but this tells me nothing. I don't know. This tells me, I don't know what the protein is. I don't know what the nothing is.
So if we're gonna move over a recipe like that you created, do you recommend then us figuring out a way to break it down into a meal for like, I guess I'm confused on this. So like your recipes are made for maybe around 6 servings.
Yeah.
So like this might be one of your recipes, grilled chicken quesadilla, right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So would you prefer instead of it being calculated like this to have it
Yeah.
broken down, breaking it down into a meal?
No.
Okay.
I guess I confused you. She made her breakfast, her lunches, her single serving, everything. She created them as a recipe and didn't need to.
Oh,
Like
gotcha.
she went in here and she did the awesome oats like this, and she did like servings 1. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
And actually now that this was years ago, now it won't even let you do 1. It will.
Gotcha.
It'll give you a little red thing. No, so definitely don't do that.
Okay.
So,
I gotcha now.
yeah. So dinners, really only dinners and like batches of things.
Okay. Perfect. Thanks.
And you can do it on your phone, but it's very cumbersome, and the process for that is you just literally go put in recipe and you have to manually type in each ingredient.
Yeah, Irene, I've been doing a lot of scanning too, which is nice. I
Yes.
scan the barcode.
Yeah, thank you for that. I forgot about
Yes,
that.
just learning to do, it's the dinners that I'm having, because I do get mixed up with the servings and
Yep.
yeah, okay.
Yep. And
Trial-
oh, go ahead.
No, I said trial and error.
Yes, completely. And did you ever send me that screenshot? It didn't come
I
yet.
did. Did it not come in?
No, not yet. This also does have another feature that no one ever talks about, maybe because I don't ever bring it up, but this lets you scan your plate. Have you guys seen that?
I saw it on one of the things, yeah.
Yeah. And I've tried it and it's really not that great, because if you have like, a hamburger and French fries, and it will give you an approximate, like what will happen is kind of like what this did, where it would give you a list of possibilities. But at least like if you're at a restaurant, because somebody, I hear this a lot, they didn't log at a restaurant because they didn't know what to put in, so they just didn't log at all. Like, we might as well do something, make a guess, scan scan it, put something in.
I sent it twice. Did you not get it?
Hang on, let me look on here. Oh, here it is.
Okay.
That's so strange.
I mean, we could talk about it later, so we're not using everyone's time. When I was looking, I'm like, I don't see that.
I don't understand why. I don't see why. Does anybody else have this? It says direct. Hang on. If it would come to my computer, I could screen share it. It actually asks for you to share directions. And are you sure you did this in meal and not in that recipe? Hang on, I'm gonna.
This is, let me do food, dinner.
Hang on. Here, I can share it. Okay, can you guys see? Can you guys see her thing here?
Mm,
No?
no.
Oh, here we go. Okay. You guys see that?
Yes. And that is in my meal.
Hmm.
I mean, that we could fool
Yeah,
around
yeah.
later.
Uh,
I was curious if anyone else had the
Do you have
same.
to save it by clicking the arrow at the top first, maybe?
Oh,
I-
where it says add meal, the little check mark?
Yeah. Because when I did it, I saved one of my meals to tomorrow. And it came up and I got the 3 dot, or I actually just did it right now and did one of the other ones and it actually came up. And it takes me to the diary.
No, mine's still showing this. How did you do that again?
So I hit the plus like you did at the bottom
Mhm.
for tomorrow, and then I went add food. And I went into breakfast. I picked one of my meals.
Okay.
I hit the add at the top and then it showed me like everything and I got the 3 dots. When it imported, it took me right to my diary. So after I added my meal, it took me to my diary and then I got the 3 dots at the bottom.
Did you add it? Did you add it from? Oh, hang on, I'm gonna hit.
The add at the bottom, maybe.
Oh, I know what you did. Are you hitting the little plus here and then making the meal?
I'm just hitting plus from like right in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then I'm hitting food and then it says select a meal.
Yep. So the way I did it, maybe try this next time, is go hit the little diary icon.
Okay, that was my question. I said, I wonder if that was
Yeah.
why. Okay.
Yeah, hit the diary icon and then build it here.
Okay.
Try that.
Okay.
But what I'm gonna do is play around with it your way in case, because there might be somebody else that's tried that and has not been able to do it.
Okay.
Because every once in a while, I will have someone that's like, I can't figure it out. And that might be why, you know, so. Anyways, questions?
I think, do you have to hit the add at the bottom to make it a meal? Have you already saved it as a meal? Because there's like an extra step when you're just adding the meal for the first time. It took me a while to figure that one out.
Like when I go back into my meals, it's showing.
It's there.
It's there. Yeah.
Yeah, mine's taking me right back to my, after I added it, takes me to the diary. I've tried it a couple different ways, so I'm not sure what's up.
Yeah. I'll have to play around with it and see. I mean, that's the only problem. I just don't get those 3 dots. So.
I do know that this, MyFitnessPal is the little check marks. If you don't check them, it does not save.
Done that a few times.
Yeah, because I've had people not hit the check mark on the making me a friend and private and not private, and it's maddening, you know, it's like, so. And then another thing, if you guys don't know this, is when you hold your phone up this way, you are not able to see your totals at the end of each meal, which for tier 1 is not something you need to worry about. But when you turn it this way, it flips and you're able to see what your totals are at the end of each meal, which is nice. And eventually you will be learning that. Because that will have a factor down the road. So it's kind of a little trick. And then one thing that I like to do, and this was in the guide, is I like to create 6 meals. So when I look at logs, I don't see people's snacks all clustered together. So in the guide, I had instructions on how to do that. And really all you do is you go into settings, and I don't remember the actual steps, but you're basically just, instead of having breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, it's breakfast, AM snack, lunch, AM snack, and then dinner, PM snack. Or my runners, or my early morning exercisers, even put in like a pre-morning, pre-breakfast, if you're having like a little something before you exercise. So make this fit your needs so that you are, it's conducive to you. So when I'm looking at logs, and especially the snack thing, I can figure it out if you're eating off the plan, what you're doing, but sometimes I look at the logs and I'm like, I see 700 calories of snacks and I can't really figure out what was eaten where. And it's nice for you guys too, to be able to split it apart. Because one thing that I do like to mention, and no one ever thinks about this, but I want you to know this as you're entering, and as you're cursing up and down at how much you hate doing this, because this saved me once. My multiple swings of weight loss. I actually, one time when I had lost weight and gained it back, stumbled across a memory on Facebook, popped up, of me when I was down weight and when I had gained it back. And it was the most depressing thing ever. And I noticed the date of that flashback. And I was like, oh, what was I eating then? I went on Fitness Pal and I scrolled back. Of course I was logging. Why else was I at my prime weight? And I could not believe that I had forgotten the magic formula to my success. I mean, I was like, that's right. I used to eat that every morning, and that's snacking. I mean, I right away went back on and made my grocery list, and I followed those footsteps diligently. And I lost it again. And that was actually the last time I gained it. So this is a running record of your success. So it's not just accountability. It's not just me checking on you. It's not, and I don't check on everybody every day. I rummage through them, and when I check is when I see people that are texting me and the weight's not moving. That's when I will say, can I check your log? I always ask, because if you're not prepared for me to check it, meaning you haven't been logging at your best, I'm not going to waste my time. I have 500 people that I'm watching. So I would rather have you say, give me, I haven't been doing great with logging. I want to look at it when it's at its best. So just note that. But this is a running record. So keep really good track of it, because you're going to want to go back and look. So questions? No. Beth, hi. Could I pick on you real quick before we go?
Sure.
Beth, oh, we didn't celebrate our 1-year anniversary.
That's
in
right.
March. We missed it.
That's right. I just keep going. Like
I know. I know. Beth joined like right as the world was shutting down last year.
Yeah.
Right. And has lost 20 pounds.
25.
25. And really I remember your words very very vividly. You said you just wanted to get healthier, and if you lost a couple pounds, you'd be fine with it.
Yeah, something like that. I was
Yeah.
kind of tiptoed into the program.
Yeah. Yeah. So any words of wisdom to them with the logging?
I think that's made a big difference. The weighing and the logging has made all the difference from all the other attempts I've made. And it makes me stay very focused and very deliberate in everything I do. So I really appreciate it. The program works clearly.
Mhm.
And I really was tentative coming into it.
Mhm.
Needed something for COVID, a distraction.
Yeah. Well, you did. I offered a 1 month thing then because
Yep.
of COVID. I baited her with a month, and she's still here a year later.
Right. I did. And that's all I committed to. And then a couple more months and
Yeah. It's all good. And now
Yeah.
you're a star student. And so anything you could share about like the frustrating moments, because this is the part where it's so frustrating. And not everybody sticks to the logging, and not everybody ends up being a success. But so any words of wisdom on that?
I would say how slow it was. It was frustrating. I mean, there were lots of periods where it just seemed flat, or it would just meander along, and not going anywhere. So you just kind of wondered, why bother? It's like, I think actually my biggest challenge is ahead, because as COVID we get out from under it, there's a lot more temptations. It was a perfect time to go into a program because I had complete control.
Yeah.
With, we aren't going out to eat, my schedule was affected. And so I could just really focus on this. It gave me something. And I am kind of semi-retired. I have a business, but it kind of slowed down quite a bit.
Yep.
So it kind of filled in some of the gaps. So I think coming ahead, I'm finding it harder to stay with the daily exercising. Like if I have something else to do, it's if I don't do it first thing in the morning, I don't do it.
Yep. Gotta get out of the
So,
way for sure.
Yeah,
Sure. Well, thank you for sharing.
you bet.
And one other thing, as I remember now, as you're talking, you weren't losing weight right away, remember?
No, I wasn't. I didn't lose
And-
weight and everybody else was.
Yes.
So that was just very discouraging to see,
Yeah.
everybody else go, oh, I lost this. And I'm like, oh, that's nice.
Yep. And do you remember, how did we fix that? It was the logging. Like I remember I dissected I went on your Fitness Pal and I dissected. I don't remember what advice I had, but I think it had to do with the protein and the carbs, and I don't remember specifically, but I do remember going on your log regularly.
You did go on my log, and you did, and I don't remember the exact thing that you did, but it obviously made a difference, and I've been doing it ever since. But and you always encourage me. I mean, you just say, "Don't worry about it," and I'm like, It was just hard to stay motivated.
I know.
During those flat periods.
Yep. But here you are, so.
Yeah, that's right. Doing it every day.
Magic. So. All right, you guys. Any other questions?
Irene, I have a quick one for you. It's Peggy. How do I account on my Fitness Pal? For instance, if I'm at work and I go to the cafeteria, I can see they have some of their things that they offer and they just have a calorie amount. I mean, I can tell what it is. It'll say a turkey, pita, pesto, whatever it's called, and it'll say, 230 calories. How do I enter something like that into my Fitness Pal without knowing all of the ingredients?
You could do a quick add calorie on that. There's a way, but I would rather you not, because then when I look at your log, I'm not going to see protein. I'm not going to see carbs. I'm not going to see. So what I would do is, honestly, this is kind of cheating the system a little bit, but I would go on, I would type in, what did you say that was, like a turkey something?
Yeah, it was just like, it was called a turkey spinach pesto pita is
So
what they made in the cafeteria one day.
I would put that in, right?
Okay,
Find something that is comparable to that.
okay,
And fidget with the portions of it on Fitness
Okay.
Pal till you hit that calorie point. You get what I'm saying?
okay, okay, all right.
Because,
right,
because
mhm.
then we know it's gonna be like at least 20 grams of protein, and it's not gonna throw off your macro count that I look at.
Okay, I'm assuming this, I would do the same thing if I went, for instance, here in the area, Wichell's Tacos, and I ordered a couple of their tacos.
That's
Same
exactly
thing.
what,
just-
yeah, that's
just-
exactly what you
Just
do.
find it.
Yep.
Oh, okay,
Go in there and make like the best guess that you can. Mhm.
okay, all right, that sounds good.
I have one quick question on when you scan an item in, like off the package, how do you save it so that you can use that again? Or does it just only apply to that one instance?
That's a good question. I'm not a scanner, so I don't know.
It saves. Mine has been saving.
Oh,
Where
okay.
does it save it to? What?
Well, it's whatever, what I'm using it for. So if it's like, you know, let me see, like if it's on, like I do a lot of like different tortillas. So,
I think it shows up like in your history. So if you went to add something, if you picked a meal, Beth,
yes,
like and you were gonna add it, it'll show up kind of in your history if you've used it for that meal.
And so you can't use it again in a different meal. Like
Well,
if
you
just want
can.
that item, you have to start over and scan it again.
No, it'll show up because I'm a scanner and I scan tons of things. And like if you just scroll your history, I don't know if you have an iPhone or, but
I have an iPhone and
yeah, I just scroll my history and it's there kind of like in the history.
and then it has even like multi-add. So if you wanted to
Yep.
do, you know, several ingredients,
yeah.
yeah, so.
Okay, so I'll look for it then.
I just scanned something, see, and it put it in with that meal.
So it stayed tied to the meal. It doesn't go into your list of
Oh,
ingredients.
no, it stayed with the, it dumped it with my breakfast, collection. You know how like when you go to add, so when I hit add breakfast, it comes up under the breakfast ingredients.
Okay. Okay.
You know what I
All
mean?
I think so. I'll have to go and try it again. I
Yeah.
just never seem to find it once I've scanned it.
And then the other thing that I've done, Beth, is like if I know I used it for another one, in that search at the top, if you know the brand name or if you just bring it up, it'll come up as one of the things that you frequently used. So like I always know the Greek, like I can just put in Greek yogurt now. I'm on a lunch and it brings up the kind that I have scanned before. So if it doesn't show up in that history list for that meal, if you just type in whatever it was, it shows up.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. I'll try
I
that.
was just gonna say something about the frequently used. I think that had,
Yep.
so.
Okay.
Whew. Awesome. Any other questions?
I have a different question now about my Fitness Pal, but I am loving that bedtime shake. Yum. So I noticed there's another shake earlier for a snack option.
Mhm.
What are your feelings about doing 2 shakes in a day
That's fine, but you should keep the casein one for night.
at night? Okay. And then the night doesn't have the fruit.
Right.
Gotcha. See, okay, I'm learning.
You are learning.
All right, thank you.
Yep. And then you saw the oats. These are the oats that I used right here.
Yeah, I bought new oats today.
I did
Yeah,
this.
we'll take care of that.
I did the same thing.
You did, yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I need to add that to the. I'm constantly making revisions. See, Beth, this is why I'm constantly making revisions. I think I put on here steel cut oats. Yeah, I didn't put the. I need to put a thing on there.
it's hard to keep up with all your changes.
I can't even keep up with them myself. So, all right, you guys.
Thank
Good
you.
Thank you.
Thanks a bunch.
Okay, so put this to practice, and if you still are having a hard time, reach out and I'll give you a little private lesson. So, okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
All right, have a good night.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.